welcome back to the channel. A few things have changed. Got a haircut. Got a few of the odds and ends, bits and bobs you could say, moved around. Got my sign moved up. I am in the process of getting my shop kind of retransformed for the year to where it's a lot more streamlined and a lot more easy to use. That being said, it basically kind of boils down to I tore my entire shop apart to rebuild it in a certain way as far as the interior is concerned, just so I can have a lot more ease to continue to create content and create projects and just help my overall workflow. I'm at that point now where I have most every tool that I need. It's just a matter of getting it set up in such a way that it makes it a lot easier to use. This is a small space, it's a small shop, so it gets very difficult very quickly to consistently grab one tool, use it, try to figure out how to get through and move and put it back to the place I thought was a good spot for it type deal. So I'm trying to get more permanent spots for things and just kind of seeing my workflow, my feel of it. That to be said, that is why there's a new backdrop or a change of pace in that regard. It's not fully done. I will be doing a shop tour here, probably not the next video, but the following video after that. I should be going through everything buttoned up hopefully by then. All that to say, in today's video we're going to be going through and making a makeup stand. This is a commission job that I've been needing to get done, and it took me just a second because shop was in disarray and things were everywhere and I couldn't get to most of my tools to actually facilitate creating anything in this space. My floor is completely covered. You'll see that in the other video. All that got put on hold sadly. So now we're back at it again. We're going to be going through and making that. It is going to be 11 inches wide by 6 foot tall was the only parameters that were given to me. The depth of the little shelves that we're going to be making should be about the length of a wood pallet plank, essentially. So it's going to be probably 3 to 4 inches deep. I'm going to go through and get all those exact measurements and everything lined out to where it all matches nicely. And there should be probably at least 5, if not up to 6 or so shelves on it. I got to keep it within about 8 to 7 inches, so that way most any type of makeup or anything like that can fit on it. And I'm going to leave it bare. She wants to be able to have it be painted whatever color she wants for her house. So hopefully this will turn out as good as it is in my head, and hopefully it'll be a nice fun project and a bit more ease of space and a bit more ease of building it now that things are a bit more organized and ready to be used. So follow along and let's see how this turns out. Hoping it'll be a good one. Alrighty, so at this point in the build, what I've done is just kind of laid out a general outlay of what's going to be assembled here in a second. So I'm going to be using multiple planks, and I'm going to be using them in a kind of a chevron, or just a drop-down pattern, kind of like you'd use for if you're installing flooring. And I'm going to be installing back plates on it, so that way I can have multiple pieces to make one large plank or board, and it'll also give a better ability for kind of a more heavy fixture hookup on a wall, and it should hopefully give enough structure to possibly be a standalone item. She kind of wanted that as a possibility, but I'm not really sure on a 6 foot by 11 inch object that it can stand with only the shelf being large enough for makeup. I don't think that can necessarily work, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to see if it can stand on its own, but potentially I'm just going to get this nice and well built so that way when there's a bunch of makeup on it, possibly, I don't know how much makeup she has, it'll stay kind of adhered to the wall better and it'll be easier to mount. So we're going to go through and I'm going to kind of line those up and get those mounted up. I have to put in a single little piece down the one side to bring it out to 11 inches that she gave me for that dimension, and we'll go through, kind of do some sanding in between the boards as well so that they meet up a little bit better so it doesn't look like a super gapped out fence or anything like that, and it'll actually look more uniform. I'm going to opt out of actually going through and gluing each one of these joints and clamping the whole project together, because since I'm already doing backboard and I'm not trying to make a solid plate, if I was to be avoiding trying to put on stringer bits on the back to help kind of adhere it together, I would have gone that route and just made a large plank essentially, let it sit for a day, go through, clean up all the glue, throw it through the planer again, go through that whole process. But in the structuring of it, it kind of makes it feel like that would be a little bit harder for the weak points, and also, like I said before, this gives a board that you can then have that thickness. I'll use thinner boards too for something to actually sit on and rest and mount, and I actually like that a little bit better for mounting hardware when you're mounting something heavy on the wall. versus if I was to just take this plank of wood and try to just straight adhere it to a wall and make it look like a zero gap, it becomes very difficult. But if you're already going to see something kind of popped out and you'll have little planks of wood, it just looks a little bit more appetizing to the eyes, I guess would be one way to put it, or a way of saying it. So we're going to go through and start doing that. I have some glue that is, it's good glue, no problem with it, but I'm going to have to cut off the top because the hole was getting narrow and it wasn't quite seeming with the temperature out here to want to move quickly, and I was going to just use it up anyway. So I'm going to cut that container open, get some glue out, get it nice and glued. I'm going to throw in pin nails so it all stays nice and structured, and then I'm going to go through and get some of my smaller screws and throw those in so that it actually helps sync it all together. And once the glue sits, pin nails are in place, as well as the screws, this thing will be super sturdy and super strong, able to hold hopefully a lot of weight. Because plan for it to be super heavy. If she puts 3 items on it, it'll be beyond what it needs to be, and that's how I like to build things. So let's get to it. I went through, as you saw in the video, and just kind of clamped on each one of them. Did my dimension of 8 inches between each of the shelves all the way down. The bottom shelf, let's see what I have. The bottom shelf ended up being 11.5 inches. So this thickness of the wood wasn't quite half, or actually no, it's like perfectly ½ inch on most of them. It could be a skosh over or a skosh under on each of those, just dependent. Well, actually, you know, I planed all these. So, yes, these are all half-inch. Sorry. Anyway, so each of these are half-inch thick, and running off the dimension for 6 foot ended up leaving me with a little bit larger on the bottom, and the rest of them can be smaller. She can also flip it over and have a larger on top, and have a larger on top and then have the smaller on bottom, or have the smaller on top as it is right now and the larger on bottom. The back of it has one more on top here than down there, just for how it lined up for the wood, as you saw. And I don't know, I really enjoy the look of it. It can stand up-ish. Actually, no, it can stand up on its own. Once you have more product in the front of it, I feel it would want to fall. So I do hope she still at least throws 1 or 2 secure screws into it. So it's not all quite in frame, but it is exactly 6 feet to the top, to the very bottom. I'll kind of do a few pan over shots. It's a little hard in a small shop like this one. Luckily I've got nice tall rafters in here, and it's not exactly like 7 foot or 8 foot like a lot of shops are. I have a nice benefit of 10 foot above me, so there's a good 4 foot variant on top that isn't hitting my lights or hitting anything else. The light is kind of close though, but it was a bit of a stressful challenge at some points just to kind of get around it. There's, like I said earlier in the beginning of the intro, there's still a bit to be done before I do the shop tour, and a bit more cleaning has to be done throughout. So there's a few boxes that need sorted of just random miscellaneous things to go on the wall. I need to finish my curtain and so on, so that will get done, and it will be a lot better in the next one. So thank you all very much for sticking around and watching to the end of the video. I'm kind of doing my own little bit of a 44 club. I know close family and friends comment on any little things at the end, so thank you very much for your patronage and watching all the way through. Hopefully you enjoyed this build, and hopefully you'll enjoy the way the shop looks here in the coming shop tour. So thank you very much. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell if you haven't done so already. It gives me a great deal of boost in the overall analytics. It helps a bit too to let you know every time that I come out with a new and improved video, or just the next project I'm working on. So thank you very much. Have yourself a good one. We'll see you in the next one.